my wife starts going into perimenopause. There were definitely issues, but it was a lighter load to carry.
Hi, this is Miyako, and today we have a very special topic. Not only it will benefit women over 40 experiencing perimenopause or menopause, but also men. And this topic is not openly discussed until now. So I'm super excited to dive into today's topic about how wise men look at these women over 40, what they perceive, and how your partner can support your journey. So I think this is a really sensitive but very interesting topic that we want to explore with you. And that's why I invited today's special guest, Steven Weisman. Steven is a higher transformational coach.
Thank you very much for that awesome introduction, and it's a pleasure to be here, Miyako. As you said, I am a higher transformation coach, but I'm also a high performance certified coach, which is an alternate to life coaching.
How about this topic around perimenopause of women? Could you share with us a little bit about your family or someone around you?
Of course, this is a very important topic, and I was very excited that you invited me because, like you said, it's not openly discussed. When I first, for example, saw my mother going through that process and she explaining what she was going through, you don't really relate to that as a male because you don't go through those particular changes. But then a few years later, or many years later, my wife starts going into perimenopause. My wife starts going into menopause. So now, obviously, this is a one-on-one. And my response to it, the transformation that I had to go through, because I chose to go through that transformation, and how it's impacted our relationship really had to do with how much did I know about the topic.
I'm getting really excited. And let me share with you that the reason I actually chose this topic is, first, I want to inspire women from look at ourselves from a different angle. We, of course, tend to sit in our box, but once we get to see from the other side, then there will be a total whole new picture happening.
Yes.
So that's number one. And number two is that, okay, if we were to go through this kind of beautiful transformational stage that I call, like transition but transformational, meaning that when we getting deeper understanding about each other.
I completely agree with you. It can be taken as an opportunity for growth, not only an individual growth, but this is a collective. This is a couple's opportunity for joint. It's like a joint venture.
Let's dive into the first topic about how wise men honestly feel about women over 40, conventional way of looking at women. And I wanted to ask you, honestly, how a matured wise man like Steven are looking at this age range of women.
Well, great question. That's probably one of the most relevant questions. How do I see women that are 40 fully capable not only of taking care of themselves, their families, their spouses, and still get home and get things done at home and have a professional life? I consider that to be a superpower. Bearing children for me is a superpower that women have. And I fully respect and relate to it. So women over 40, I think they're just starting. I think that there's a quality of energy, but it's also partially the beginning of perimenopause. So it's a challenging time for women stepping into that 40 to 50 range, maybe even that 50 to 60 range, because I know menopause varies from lady to lady. But interestingly, I will not differ in my opinion. I think women over 40 are just stepping into their prime, not only because they have greater understanding and self-empowerment through their own self-awareness, but the fact that they get to lead the next generation with that knowledge is crucial.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I got 60 last December.
Nice,
and
I know. Yeah.
You know what? The beautiful thing is because of the practice that I do based on the Ancient Aging Secret, I think we are having that kind of dual living. Of course, the reality is here, like 60 Miyako here, but inside of me, there's like a little Miyako always like playing around.
Oh.
Always playing. And when we accepted that, then it came like, for me, it's like just getting started. Like you said, like a beautiful, matured wine. I love that. Great, fantastic. Someone who takes all this kind of learning and have that kind of space or wisdom in themselves to turn into a more beautiful things that they can pass on to the next generation.
Absolutely. That's exactly where I agree with you, because at a younger stage in our lives, what we may be lacking is just understanding. So when we get to the 30s and 40s, and so there is an awakening of understanding, and it's much readily available to making decisions, applying them to our relationships. So that's why 40s and 50s is the beginning of what I consider to be the foundation for the next generation. I greatly appreciate what you're doing in the topic of menopause, because a lot of misconceptions, and there's a lot of both psychological and physiological issues for both male and females going through it.
Thank you so much for bringing up this topic, because I want to also talk about, of course, the dream state or how you perceive ourselves is really inspiring, and we are just getting started. But in reality, there are challenges, of course. So in general, like what often women experience, this is typical, like anxiety, like mood swings, migraines, or sleeplessness. These are the things that actually people say, women I help with, they say, oh, I'm losing myself. They don't know actually whether it came from perimenopause or menopause, but something, the physical changes. Right? They're wondering what's happening. It's not like they're instantly related to perimenopause or menopause, but what's happening? Is it coming really to me?
For women, there's challenges, but there's also these additional challenges that happen to men that relate, I think, as closely to the same challenges, because as men, we also experience anxiety, and we experience depression, and we experience frustration, and even the helplessness or the guilt, because we don't know how to help our partner. And oftentimes it makes us feel inadequate, because maybe 6 months ago or a year ago, everything was amazing, great. Nobody had any symptoms. And all of a sudden it just clicked, and it's starting to happen. It changes things, and it does have a psychological impact. And I think the lack of awareness is what's leading to some of the conflicts that we see. There's additional fears associated with menopause that, when not properly understood, we create this perception that is true. And I think one of the biggest one, like you said, is low libido sometimes tends to send men on a spiral, because now they're super afraid perhaps that like sex is over in the relationship. And that's false. Absolutely
like
false.
Panic, right?
Yeah, but with the proper understanding and with the deeper strategies of communication, menopause shouldn't have the negative connotation when it comes to these misconceptions, like you said. But it does bring its challenges, without a doubt. It brings a challenge.
I think the understanding, like information that women will go through at certain point, and it varies person to person, and it depends on their health condition. All these are happening, but there is a way to really find relief. And also, if we are communicating with a partner, and partner also understand that situation, then there will be a solution. So this topic is very informative for even like a colleague, because women's menopause and perimenopause issue at work is really serious.
When you invited me to join you on this amazing podcast, was that I think I knew early on that, for example, my wife was going to go through menopause, that my mother had gone through menopause. So it's not something you think about it every day as a man, but if you put yourself in that position and you say, this is somebody's mom, this is somebody's wife, right? The same thing is going to happen to me. Maybe, like you said, you're younger, you're stronger, but in 10 years, in 15 years, whatever the time frame is, you're going to be in that position. And especially if you're a woman, you most likely will be in that position, right? But I don't know, just learning how to be more empathetic about the struggles getting into perimenopause stage and the menopause stage. It was very helpful. And I appreciate it because it really helped me when it started happening with my wife. Not to the point that there was no conflict. No, there were issues. There were definitely issues, but it was a lighter load to carry, per se. Yeah.
So we are coming into the third final topic about how your partner can support you.
It's definitely a topic that I'm very fond of discussing because I've had a success story with my wife. We continue to build upon successes because we believe in communication and the right strategies and techniques of communication. For me, why it hits home so much is because although I had some of the experiences with my grandmother and my mother, and they talked about it, and it was something that you just almost overheard. It wasn't a conversation per se. You overheard it. They're going through it. And they talked about the symptom and the hot flashes. And is that something that happens to somebody else? When you're a kid, you know, that's not going to happen to my mom or to me. So when you find yourself in that situation, and it's your person that you love and fight for and you partner in life, that's the way that I see my marriage and my relationship. And when she comes in to the perimenopause stage, I wasn't prepared. I had super high libido. Everything was great. You're taking trips, you're hanging out, there's romance, and all of a sudden, boom, that all of a sudden stops. So you don't know if it's going to stop for a long time. So when you start supposing and assuming things, that's when the real trouble starts. Because, like you said, you're not finding a solution. You are finding a way to mask what's triggering you with that kindness of patience that comes with patience. And I tell you, it wasn't easy to get there. Absolutely. I won't try to sugarcoat the truth. It wasn't easy because I wanted more intimacy. And it's interesting because sometimes when you don't have something, you want it even more. And that's where I see sometimes men,
cycle.
They assume too fast, too furiously, no pun there, to think that, oh, the relationship must be over because intimacy is difficult. Miscommunication happens more often. There's more conflict, like I said, in comparison to just a few months before or a year before. So it's not that something is wrong with the relationship. I think the level of communication, the strategy of communication, the techniques of communication haven't evolved to satisfy this new situation and context that couple finds themselves in. So you gotta bend them, twist them, test them, and bring in new ones. And you'll see that the person is still there and they're the person that you love.
What would be your advice to men, like having your partner going through perimenopause or menopause like your wife? They don't know what to get started. You know, they don't want to bother their wife, who is already feeling like in the mood of roller coaster and happy. And then,
I'll start with probably the most difficult one, which is the fear of intimacy and sex drive ending. It's not going to happen. It's a temporary unplugging. Her body is calling for a temporary closure in that department. So be patient, very patient. Talk about it. The more you talk about it, the more it becomes a less taboo. So that's one. And number two, I think that it's a time in which I learned how to support my wife in ways that were there that I would have done before, but I didn't really have to. And it was, for example, putting the dishes into the dishwasher, picking up the kids. Doing the shopping one week because she doesn't want to go. She's not feeling well. Go do the shopping. She'll send you the list and get it done. Small things where you can fill in. And this is a deep truth I'm going to share with you guys. Happy wife, happy life. Okay? I'm going to leave it there. Happy wife, happy life. And I think for men who are going through that, it's a difficult position for you. And I understand what you're going through. You're not alone. Yeah. There's tremendous amounts of resource. And it starts with asking yourself the right questions rather than reactiveness. And it will lead you to a deeper, much, much deeper relationship with the one you love. And that is worth waiting, whatever you have to wait, because that person will be with you forever, right?
And then the last final tip about how to really turn that relationship into romantic conversation and co-creative state is something I really want to actually practice every single day.
I think communication is what saved my marriage through this period. It was difficult. And I pay a lot of attention to the techniques of communication that are out there, making sure that give yourself an opportunity to find a solution.
Yeah.
As difficult as it might seem, when you cross that bridge, you're going to be rewarded. And I love hearing these success stories of couples who go through very difficult times during menopause, but they stick it together and they become inseparable. And that's a beautiful thing as you grow older. So, it's a bonding process.
I love that. Wow. And I highly respect Steven in a way that you not only bring that like a high performance type of coaching, but more of the spirituality or like emotional thing into becoming a better us. Are you ready to take charge of your energy in your prime years and live life on your own terms? Sign up for my free video training series and discover the incredible power you already have to revitalize your body and mind during perimenopause. You can find the link in the description below. You'll learn the secrets that Asian women have been using for thousands of years to alleviate perimenopausal symptoms naturally and feel more alive, vibrant, and in control of your health. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode.